Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another video. Just saying, it's Wednesday. 2 videos in one night? Well, a lot has happened. As you saw in my NXT TakeOver Unstoppable review, not only is Kevin Owens still NXT champion, but now he faces another new challenge. That in ROH and TNA legend, the Samoan Submission Machine, Samoa Joe. Why am I making another video? Well, if you saw either from the title or the picture, yeah, it looks like TNA is really done this time. Why, you say? Well, let me bring up this is an article that dropped tonight on WrestlingInc.com news, and the title, and I will read it for you. The title: Destination America reportedly cancels all TNA wrestling programming. It goes on to say, before it was announced last Friday that Impact Wrestling will be moving to Wednesday nights beginning June 3rd, 2015, Destination America officials made the decision to cancel the show and all other programming from the Nashville, Tennessee-based company. This is according to Dave Metzger's in this week's issue of Wrestling Observer newsletter, which was published Wednesday night. It was noted to Metzger that TNA programming will cease to air on Destination America at the end of the third quarter of the year. This is roughly the last week of September, when current television season ends. Key people at parent company Discovery Communications were informed of this decision. 2 major reasons were given for the cancellation of the TNA shows. While Destination America officials considered the ratings of Impact to be good, the numbers were not good enough to justify the cost of the program. The other problem was that a number of the cable network's advertisers specifically did not want to advertise during Impact Wrestling. The decision for Impact Wrestling was meant to be kept secret, quite like how Spike executives kept secret publicly last year the decision to drop Impact Wrestling for months after the decision was made and reported. A public acknowledgement is expected to be made at the station's reveal at its 2015-16 season primetime lineup. Following up the March 13th, 2015 episode of Impact, which saw viewership sink to a new low, Destination America officials made the decision to cancel Saturday morning programming under the belief that eliminating the replay would help Friday's numbers, the only numbers they care about. Although there was a slight increase, all first-run programming, with the exception of Impact airing multiple times on Friday nights, was axed due to the cable network's difficulty in selling advertisement time. For the May 8th, 2015 live episode of Impact, Destination America purchased an advertisement in the USA Today newspaper to promote the show, believing that additional advertising and it being almost live would lend to an increased rating. Instead, Impact did its second lowest number on Destination America, and the number replay, which is primarily watched by viewers on the West Coast, drew low numbers. Days later, Destination America executives made a decision to cancel all TNA programming. Dixie Carter, president of TNA Wrestling, was made aware of Destination America's decision earlier this week, although it does not appear that most of the talent knew anything, since word has it that it's not even gotten around. Her knowledge of the cancellation may have played a part in Impact Wrestling's moving to Wednesday night, but that is uncertain. Carter didn't respond to any questions on the subject from Metzger. Metzger noted in his report that Destination America's decision has not been finalized. Employees at the station, however, have not been told anything new since a memo was issued to them informing them of the cancellation. Metzger has noted that, quote, this story is very much ongoing, end quote. And that is the end of the article. Now, as my friend Griffoon on my last video said, it is such a coincidence that tonight would see not only the debut of a man who helped build TNA to being a reputable second competitor, if you want to call a competitor in the terms that you can understand, of TNA, And as soon as he debuts, it drops that TNA has effectively been killed by its new parent station, Destination America. Now, we've had a lot of TNA stars defect, leave the company because of several issues that have been accumulated over the years that were pointed out but never really taken care of. Taking care of your talent. Many of the wrestlers on the roster have had multiple health issues, and TNA were they either unable or unwilling to pay them. More famous ones being Conan's dialysis when he was with the company, Daphne taking a vicious bump that resulted in her needing some time off and some effective therapy, but TNA did not pay for it. And the poor case of that young man who broke his neck in his debut match, and TNA was unwilling to pay for his physical therapy and his rehab, and such that his mother had to pay for it, and she went bankrupt doing it. There were other stories, I'm sure. Another issue is them paying their talent. Now, confidential sources have said that TNA has a problem with paying their talent either not enough or not at all, or on time for that matter, with many of them taking second jobs. A long time ago, Taylor Wilde, one of TNA's more dominant women champions, while she was champion, was working part-time at a t-shirt shop because they weren't paying her enough. And she was forced to quit that job by TNA officials because they didn't want people recognizing her for being one of their champions selling t-shirts, which just sucks. And Joe left because of similar pay issues, and recently Taz left because of issues with pay, not for himself, but for the staff, and for many of the wrestlers in general. So all of these were just issues that are compounded, and as you read, a lot of advertisers do not want to add to their advertisements during Impact programming. Now, this may not seem like a lot, but advertisement is a lot for companies. It's how they make their money. It's for TV stations. And if a lot of companies are saying they don't want their brands or their products or whatever, or their services or whatever being advertised during this set point in time, the show that's supposed to be the biggest draw of the channel, then that's a big problem. So they're making those cost-effective decisions they're pouring so much money into this show, you can see it, but they're not getting much in return, as the show is doing low to abysmal numbers, and they can't even get advertisement during this show, because people know because of the low numbers, no one would ever see it. So there's that. So yeah, this appears to be the death knell of Total Impact Wrestling, or Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling, or Impact Wrestling as it's called now. And while a lot of people have been calling for the end of Impact, they came close last year to closing their doors, because Spike didn't renew their contract and wasn't going to renew their contract, so they didn't have a home. Destination America was the last gasp for them to actually stay in business, because if you can't have a TV station, you can't have a TV station and no audience, because that's the only way they're going to survive. And with this, like last year, if they don't pick up, if another station doesn't pick them up by the end of September of this year, if they don't have a situation in place for this, they're done. TNA is dead. Right now, they're on life support. They have been on life support ever since, and since Spike dropped them. But as you can see and hear, Destination America is not happening anymore, and they're going to drop them. Now, as Metzger said, this is an ongoing developing story. This may change in the next couple of hours or days or weeks. But as we have right now, as it stands right now, TNA might be dead. More than 85% sure that it's going to die I'm not sure if I want to be happy about it. I mean, the stuff they've been pulling off has been a marked improvement over the last couple of months they've been on Impact, on Destination America. Unfortunately, I watch Impact, but only if nothing else is on. If it's on, I'll watch it just as a background. But if there's something else on, I'm not going to bother watching it because it's not going to keep my attention. Not to say it sucks. It just hasn't done anything lately to keep my attention, to warrant me to keep watching it. So yeah. So that's my video about the end of TNA. Like what you see? Link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or want to discuss something? Or how about I just leave a question for you? Since TNA seems to be fading out, what was your favorite TNA match or moment or wrestler? If any, just leave it below. I'll get back to you. You want to support the channel? Click an advertisement. It literally takes a second. I can't say that it's a shame that I'm probably getting more ads from my meager little videos than TNA is right now. And if you want to support the channel directly, tip jar's up there. Just drop $1 or $2 in the bucket. Get a taco with it. So until next time, shintigercurl, that dude with the straw hat, saying good night. Teenagers can't catch a break.